What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is about one of the strangest species in all of Star Wars, the sentient clams known as the Knowledge Bank. This meter-long, purple, mollusk race dwelled on the ocean floor of the planet Mon Cala. Similar to the Shard, the members of the Knowledge Bank grew in colonies, where their minds were all linked, and being static, others didn't think that they were intelligent. But these mollusks were of course carbon-based, not silicon crystals, instead having soft, fleshy interiors, a hard glowing shell, and most impressively, telepathic powers that could stretch across the globe. Developed to communicate with each other, the Knowledge Banks eventually realized that they were picking up the existence of other sentient creatures on Mon Cala, whom they would later come to understand as the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. Their collective memory was incredible, allowing them to store the memories of all sorts of creatures they came across, an ability that they were eventually able to use to essentially eavesdrop into the sensory input of any other species, and share their experiences. Once the Knowledge Bank's numbers grew to spread across the planet's sea floor, their collective telepathic consciousness, combined with their near-limitless storage of memories, allowed this species to act as a sort of record keeper for every moment that occurred in the waters of Mon Cala. It is unclear who discovered them first, the Quarren or the Mon Calamari, but I believe it may have been the Quarren, since they were known to inhabit the deeper parts of the ocean, while Akbar's people dwelled on both land and towards the surface. But regardless of who first stumbled upon them, both cultures learned to revere the Knowledge Bank and developed their own rituals and spiritual relationship with these mollusks. The Quarren were very reserved, and would never let off-worlders set eyes on these keepers of record, but the Mon Calamari allowed some guests to witness their communing with the bank, while other visitors just happened to discover them on their own. When a Mon Calamari wanted to gain some knowledge from the past, they would float in a still, open part of the ocean until voices would start to telepathically appear in the seeker's mind, drawing them to the colony which possessed the answer. Individual shells would open, emitting a beam of yellow light, until several of them were open and able to access and transmit the memories. To help with this process, the seeker would conduct a low rhythmic chant, as the sounds and visuals from some past event filled the seeker's mind, making them feel as if they were experiencing it firsthand. Because of the ability for this process to drive people insane, those of lower intelligence came to fear the Knowledge Bank, resulting in the claim by off-worlders that the Mon Cala oceans had these large, mysterious clams that could devour your mind. This myth was told to the unscrupulous group of Han, Lando, Chewie, and Greedo when they went in search of a missing human named Webble. Webble knew the location of an important but uncharted planet, and when Han and the game tracked him to the seas of Mon Cala, they started to hear voices coming from underwater. Following this call, they discovered that Webble had died when his vessel crashed into the sea, and that his body had already been partially eaten. He would have taken the location of this secret planet to his watery grave, if it wasn't for the Knowledge Bank recording his thoughts as he lay awaiting death. Han and the gang were lucky enough to receive this knowledge from the telepathic creatures, and it would rank amongst Han's strangest experiences in the entire galaxy. 12 years later, when Leia was looking for the missing Admiral Akbar, she came across a female Mon Calamari Jedi in hiding, who agreed to take her to the nearest banks, so that it could show her what Akbar was seeing, and thus discover the Admiral's location. Leia theorized that their power must come from the Force, and one could use the Force to receive information from it without the use of a ritual, but many of the Force-sensitive natives to Mon Cala were confident that the Knowledge Bank's powers were not based on the Force, using instead some other unique ability. This would help to explain why their telekinetic powers only extended to beings in the waters of Mon Cala, and not on a universal scale like the Force. The best theory from the Quarren and Mon Calamari was that the Knowledge Bank was able to use the entire ocean as a sort of medium through which the activity of a brain could be transmitted to the brain equivalent in the Knowledge Bank. So that's it for their history, but you definitely want to hear these cool facts and behind the scenes stuff. These are considered to be canon, with their reintroduction in the book Star Wars Complete Locations, with the Quarren Senator TK's having one of these mollusks in his office, which really does bring up a lot of issues. One is how good did individual clams work, without its colony that made up the Knowledge Bank, and could he use it to read the memories of those in his office, or would they have to actually sit with him in this pool? It also would have been seen as a horrible crime to remove one, by both the Quarren and Mon Calamari. So this may just be a sign that they work differently in canon. But there is also a discrepancy with how these work in Legends, and how the galaxy at large perceive them in different material. In the official Star Wars fact file, it is said that Mon Cala is famous for its telepathic clams, while in the Underworld comic, it is said that the Knowledge Bank is a closely guarded secret. But perhaps an explanation is that the Quarren thought that they were doing a good job of keeping it a secret, while the Mon Calamari were way too open and friendly, telling everybody about these cool telepathic clams. So that's it for the Knowledge Bank species. If you want to connect with us, help support this channel, or get your own copies of the reference material used to make this video, be sure to check out the links in the description. But most important of all, remember, if you're on Earth and you think shellfish are telepathically communicating with you, don't go for a swim, call a psychiatrist, and the Force will be with you. Always.